sung virtually every kind of popular music, launching songs to the top of the charts. Her soaring, dynamic voice has reverberated through the finest concert halls in the world. Today, Brenda marks over 40 years in the recording industry and over $100 million in record sales. She's still touring into her 50s, but she made her lasting mark on rock and roll, rockabilly, country, and pop music before she even turned 18.
Hank Williams, Mahalia Jackson put together. That's Brenda Lee in a nutshell. That energy was what initially caught my attention. But what kept me as a fan was that torn from the chest emotion of those ballads, those incredibly torrid, emotionally drenched performances that, when I listen to them today, I cannot believe came from a 14-year-old kid.
She was a person you always wanted to get on the show before she did, because she was an act you couldn't follow. I mean, the popularity of her, and she turned people on. I mean, when she come on the stage, and still does to this day.
She just had such an ability to translate lyric into reality, and even at that young age, there was just something about her that I thought was really unique and different.
As a captivated public came to know her, they couldn't believe the sounds that were coming from a mere child's mouth. Today, Brenda only stands 4'9". Her diminutive stature and explosive voice inspired the nickname Little Miss Dynamite. From humble rural beginnings, she'd blast her way to fame, fortune, and the title of top female vocalist of the 60s. She was born Brenda Mae Tarpley in the charity ward of an Atlanta, Georgia hospital in 1944. Her dad was a laborer, and her mom worked odd jobs to help make ends meet. Humble is the kindest description of Brenda Lee's beginnings.
Well, it was not getting any extras, for sure. My dad was a carpenter, and certainly did the best that he could do for his family, but just didn't make a whole lot of money, and times were tough. We didn't get a lot of things that other children had, but I never realized that I was poor, and that says a lot for my mom and dad.
The Tarpleys couldn't give their kids the material things. What they did give them was an appreciation for life and a love for music.
We loved each other and was a family, and that made up for some things we didn't have. Brenda, as a little girl, was kind of tomboyish. She loved the outside, riding bikes and climbing trees, you know, just an ordinary little girl. But even as a baby, she loved music. I could turn the radio on, you know, and she loved listening to music. She liked Hank Williams. She liked George Jones. She really kind of liked all of them.
Brenda began to mimic songs she heard on the radio and soon learned the importance of pleasing an audience.
When she was around 3 years old, her dad and I both were working in a cotton mill. And she found out at that age that people liked to hear her sing. But she also found out you might could get paid for it. Brenda and Linda, the oldest daughter, they would go down to the store, and the people there would want Brenda to sing, and she would come home with a pocket full of candy or something. So she caught on real quick.
Brenda's sister picked up on her younger sibling's gift and at age 5 entered her in a first-grade talent contest.
It was a beauty talent thing, and I wanted to win the beauty because you got money for winning the beauty, but you just got a trophy for winning the talent. And I believe I sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I'm not sure, but I won the talent division.
Whether or not she was fully aware of it, young Brenda had a gift that would soon take her places. She sang for fun in ice cream bars, at luncheons, and local TV shows. But tragically, in 1953, when she was only 8 years old, her father was killed in a construction accident, and her musical gift took on a new meaning to her family.
My mother was never one to push me into singing if I didn't want to. But after my father died, it just became a thing to where I was making some money doing that, and that was helping my mother because she was all alone with 3 children to support and working very hard. And I think at an early age I realized that. And my working just the little time that I was bringing in any kind of money certainly helped the family out.
In February of 1956, Brenda turned down a good-paying radio appearance to see country music standout Red Foley perform. It was the most important job offer she never took.
I met Brenda Lee in the early 50s in Augusta, Georgia. I was playing a concert there with Red Foley. He came to me between the shows and said, this girl came by today and said she's just a kid, and said she is the best singer I've heard in ages. Said, I want you here. Red, I think, hired her there on the spot to be a member of the Ozark Jubilee. She was tremendous. Everybody that's seen her and heard her just marveled at how great she was.
Yeah, when Mr. Foley first heard me sing, he told me, you know, he couldn't believe that such a big voice, he said, could come out of such a little person. So he was very complimentary and certainly was a guiding force in the early stages of my career.
The Ozark Jubilee was a big network show and became the springboard for Brenda's career. It brought her national exposure and a Decca recording contract.
Yeah, Jambalaya was my very first record, the first song that I performed on the Ozark Jubilee, and has been a very good song for me. And of course, it was a Hank Williams song that my mom taught me when I was just a little girl. On the fire.
A song from her childhood became her ticket to success. And the little girl who sang for nickels and gumdrops would soon realize she could own the whole candy store.
The Life and Times of Brenda Lee returns in a moment on TNN.
Brought to you by...
Continues on TNN.
Dynamite, you're dynamite, dynamite. Hey, baby, when you kiss it, dynamite.
The fuse was lit. By 1957, Brenda Lee's career was going places she could only have dreamed of just a year before. The pint-sized bundle of energy blew away record buyers and TV audiences as she lived up to her nickname.
Boy, you put her on stage, I mean, she'd bring the house down because everybody knew Little Dynamite was there. She didn't act like a child. She acted grown-up. And when the light went on, she was good. And, man, she sang the fire out of everything I ever heard her sing.
One of her frequent network television stops in the late 50s was The Steve Allen Show.
Next, let's go to the dressing room of cute little Brenda Lee. Here she is. Brenda, what is that you're mixing there? Is that some makeup, sweetie?
Yes, you see, first I mix some powder and some pancake base until it's smooth. Oh, it makes the skin look wonderful. Oh, there, it's ready.
Well, that's great. And you're going to put that on your face, huh?
No, Mr. Allen. I put it on my knees. I skinned them playing marbles this afternoon.
You skin your knees. I see. Well, that's kind of cute. Girls will be girls.
Most little kids sound like little kids. She never did. She not only had a mature sound when she was 10 or 12 or 14, but she also had a mature attitude. She never seems to have gone through a gangly, amateurish phase. She was very professional right from the beginning. A good indication of the fun that Brenda and I had working together and the ease with which we worked together came when we were doing an old song. It was called I Love You.
I love you is all that I can say.
And she was known at that time, of course, for that funny little break in her voice. So at one point in the number, I imitated her. I made fun of her, you know. She got the giggles momentarily. But being a real pro, she got control of herself immediately. If I had gotten the giggles, I probably would have laughed for 5 minutes like an amateur.
Brenda's early recordings were country and traditional songs, but her high energy and youthful exuberance were perfectly suited for the rockabilly and rock and roll tunes she soon popularized.
I think there was an explosiveness to her delivery that critics recognized early on. And that rockabilly energy, that really, all people of my generation can remember this.
She was almost like a female Elvis. I mean, the kids all loved her. Of course, the grown-ups did too. She really was pretty classy about her choice of songs.
Brenda was certainly growing up famous, but her mother made sure her success didn't go to her head.
We all tried to make things as normal as possible. Brenda was treated like the sister of the other children.
I don't think she was ever treated by her mother or her siblings as anything other than just plain old Brenda. She was on the debating team, she was on the school newspaper, and she was a cheerleader. And we had a very, regular apple pie teenage life.
You know, I would be dishonest if I said that I didn't miss some things, because I certainly did. I was gone a lot. But I think that I was more than compensated for the things that I missed by the things that I gained, because I was able to help my mother. I was able to help my brothers and sisters and give them a better life than we had had. And I never discussed money. I didn't know what we made for a show date. But I would know we were doing well because I would be able to buy my mom a new home, or I would be able to buy her a car, or I would be able to do things like that later on when I started having some success with records.
In Europe, the French were buying Brenda's records in droves, prompting her 1958 engagement at Paris's famed Olympia Theater and launching a tale of historic proportions.
The funniest story was the French didn't believe that a child could sing with that kind of volume and so forth, and the rumor got out in France that she was a 35-year-old midget. And a lot of people bought that rumor.
I went originally for 3 weeks. I wound up staying 8 weeks. And it was culture shock. You know, I'd never been anywhere like that. I'd only seen that in books. So that was really something for a little girl from Georgia to be starring in the biggest theater in Paris.
Any questions that the French or anyone else had about just who Brenda Lee was pretty much vanished with the success of a simple ballad that she released in 1960.
I'm sorry, so sorry, that I was such a fool. I didn't know love could be so cruel.
I'm Sorry was my first #1 song, and sold to date, I think, 15 million records. And when I recorded it, the record company really didn't want me to do that because I was just not quite 14, and they didn't think the public would buy that age of a girl singing that kind of a song. But I believed so much in the song, and we had been recording quite a bit, and on the tail end of a session one night we had about 10 minutes, and I said, Owen, why don't we do I'm Sorry?
It was very repetitious, and I kept saying, well, we can't do that because I don't know how to make it interesting. It's just the same old thing over and over. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And so her manager said, sing that again for him, Brenda. So she sang it.
So we just did it with a head arrangement, and I think we did 2 takes on it.
And it turned out to be a pretty good thing.
A 15-year-old singing sensation received the highest tribute of the world of discs. As Decca Executive Vice President Leonard Schneider looks on, President Milton Rackmill presents to Brenda Lee a gold record, symbolizing the sale of 1 million copies of her song, I'm Sorry. It's the nation's #1 hit, so what's for a little girl from Tennessee to be sorry about?
I'm Sorry was a different kind of song for her. And from that point on, I think she felt like she could do things with more substance to them.
Ballads, it seemed, suited a maturing Little Miss Dynamite just fine. Every Brenda Lee single from the end of 1959 to the middle of 1962 became a top 10 hit.
She's a song magnet. She knows a lyric and she knows a melody and has always been that way. If you ask Owen Bradley, I think he'd tell you that even as a child, she knew what she wanted to sing. Once you've been sung by Brenda Lee, you've been sung, buddy.
Love was blind, and I was too blind to see.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, presenting America's most exciting young personality, Miss Dynamite, Brenda Lee. Dynamite.
Just as she was the teen sensation girl next door in the States, Brenda Lee was pop music's global ambassador.
When you talk to people in England and Germany and Japan and Italy and Australia, I mean, people know who she is all over the world. I think there's no question but that Brenda Lee was one of the first artists to take her music around the world in the modern sense. I mean, the early 50s is when transatlantic flying became possible and regular for the first time. And that the people of a nation embraced her, as the French did, as the Brazilians did, as the Australians did, as the Japanese did when Brenda went there. I don't think there's any precedent for that. That is an extraordinary accomplishment.
What is the most important thing about singing?
Well, I think the most important thing about anything is liking it. So I guess liking to sing is the most important thing about it.
Not only did she get to see the world, she got to meet some of the world's more interesting people. The Beatles used to open her shows in Germany before they became the Fab Four. Patsy Cline once rescued Brenda and her mother during an early tour after the promoter took off with the money. And she was old friends with Elvis from their first Opry appearance together. She openly welcomed advice, particularly from those who'd found stardom at a young age.
Yeah, I've sat down with a lot of people that started out young and started out as child stars, and most of them were very unhappy. And not happy at all about how their lives had been and where their money had gone, and it always amazed me because my life wasn't like that at all. Judy Garland and I once had a long talk about being young and being in the business, and she was very generous with her time and her advice and told me not to take myself too seriously. And I always admired her. She was always one of my very favorites.
Aside from having some interesting friends and an unusual after-school job, Brenda was like any other young girl. And girls like boys.
I had a lot of crushes on the boys in high school that I went to school with, and I was very well chaperoned on the road, so I didn't have much of a chance to get out of line. There were times that I thought about it really seriously, but I really didn't have much of a chance to date or anything on the road, and I wasn't allowed to date. Actually, I could double date when I was 16, and I wasn't allowed to single date until I was 18. Friends my own age that I toured with, Bobby Rydell and Frankie Avalon and Fabian and those kind of people, we just wound up being buddies. Although everybody thought Fabian was kind of cute. And we did try to have a date one night, but my mom and my manager and the boys in my band all followed us, hiding behind bushes and poles in the street and telephone poles. So it turned out to be not quite the date we had hoped it would be, but that was about my only dating experience on the road. At a rock and roll show, a Jackie Wilson show, at the Fairgrounds Coliseum in about October of 1962. I was sitting on one side of the aisle and he was sitting across, and I just looked over there and saw him. Said to my girlfriend, now there's a cute guy. I'd like to get to know him a little better. And so I was very upfront, you know, about how I felt. So I just wrote him a little note and said, my name is Brenda, and I'm here at the show, and I'd like to, you know, get to know you a little better. Now, that was not the right thing to do, but I did it.
I think that initially, there wasn't that much spark. In fact, she gave me her number, and I didn't call her for 2 weeks. And that was probably the best move I ever made. Well, I was a little afraid to call, really.
He finally called, and we started dating, and I was traveling an awful lot at the time, so we were not able to see each other a lot. And actually, he was my first single date, the first guy that I had ever been out with by myself.
And we certainly fell in love. Brenda and I are about as different as two people could possibly be. And we met and fell in love so young, we sort of melted together. She came from a totally different background. I came from a more traditional background. During those days, just the fact that she was from Georgia and I was from Tennessee was a difference. But I don't know. We just sort of grew up together and grew together. And we seemed to get along real well.
I really wanted some roots because I really never had a lot since I was a child, and since I had started working and performing. And he was just a nice guy from a wonderful family, very stable, very deep-rooted in family life. Just the kind of guy that I thought that I needed at that time in my life.
Brenda Lee and Ronnie Shacklett were married in the spring of 1963. After over 30 years of marriage, they still have no regrets. Brenda Lee had recorded a phenomenal 256 songs by 1964. That year, she marked another milestone as well. She gave birth to her first child and fulfilled a commitment to her late friend, Patsy Cline.
Even though she was about 11 years older than me, we became really good friends. And I was in Germany when they called me and told me that she had died. And it just broke my heart. And I always told Patsy, I said, you know, if I ever have a little girl, I'm going to name her after your little girl, Julie. So I did. I named my first daughter Julie.
Family life with Ronnie and a little daughter suited Brenda well. She'd won virtually every accolade a young singer could hope to. And with pop music beginning to feel the effects of the British invasion, Brenda decided it was time for a change.
I took a year off after I had my first baby to be with her and to be a mom. So yeah, things did change quite a bit. And, you know, I know there were a lot of people that thought, well, when she comes back, you know, she won't be having hits and she won't be doing this and she won't be doing that. But even though I was not in the public eye at the time, things paid off, and I did have hit records after I came back.
As the 60s rocked on, Brenda continued winning fans over around the world, even if her hits weren't topping the charts like they did at the decade's start. She just kept touring and recording. In 1969, she had her second child, Jolie, and focused her energy on what was most important to her.
I think she most loves her family and singing, in that order.
I agree. There was never a question of what her priority was.
No.
And it was always her family. I can remember being about 3 or 4 years old, and I used to go on the road with her. I loved to go on the road. And during her show, she would make me stand on a chair, and they would shine the big light on me and go, and this is her daughter. I loved it. I ate it up. And everybody in the audience would, like, clap. I thought I was, like, so important. But I knew she was, you know, I knew she was a big star.
She is absolutely one of the sweetest, creative, loving people I've ever met. She's always been that way. She's always been unaffected. I think everybody who meets Mother loves her for good reason. She's funny to talk to and very learned and very smart.
I mean, when we were little, she was like one of the kids, too, because she'd do anything. I mean, you know, I remember one time in particular when she was pulling us on the sled on the minibus.
Yeah.
I mean, she would get out there and play and, like, do whatever. And
We did.
She was like a big kid.
No one could accuse Brenda of not being an attentive mom. Yet, when it came to family matters, she remained her own harshest critic.
Trying to have a career and be on the road and do what was required of you, there were many guilt trips, many guilt trips, and you know that's a waste of time. I feel now, I look back and say, well, you know, I wasn't any different than any working mom. My work just took me out of town. I was just gone. But as I look back now, my girls have grown up to be thoughtful, caring, kind individuals, very giving girls, and, you know, I had to do something right.
Brenda's talents have won her fans over the years, but so too has her positive attitude.
One of the most remarkable things about Brenda Lee is the fact that she has never changed. I think the thing that struck me when I got to know her was how normal she was. I mean, this was somebody who I would class as one of the top 10 greatest pop singers of all time, and she was just as comfy as an old shoe.
She has never, as we sometimes say, put on airs. She's just what she is, and she has a wonderful home, but it's in a modest neighborhood, and she's a homemaker, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a citizen of the world, but she's held in high esteem, especially in Nashville, Tennessee.
She's just a neat little old country gal and had a great life and shares her warmth and kindness and friendship.
It's easy to look at Brenda Lee's career and come to the conclusion that she's led a charmed life. But growing up as a child professional who became a well-adjusted adult isn't to say she hasn't had her share of struggles.
I think I realized that you're not number one forever at the OnStar. And I think that's another thing that's kept me stable and and kept me from being in a corner wringing my hands and wondering what in the world hit me, because it all hits us eventually. That's why there's numbers under one, because we're not always going to be number one. We're not always going to be everybody's darling. And there was a time when I thought maybe there's not a place for me right now in the music world. And that was around about 1978, and I did take a couple of years off.
Brenda experimented with different kinds of music, but always came to the same conclusion.
I just thought, you know, I'm never going to be anybody but who I am. I can't change that. My image precedes me, that there's nothing I can do. So I just decided I was going to just find the best songs that I could find, sing them the best way that I could sing them, you know, and if the people liked them and they went out and bought them, then that was great. But I just sang like I sing. And I had a #1 record in 1980 called Tell Me What It's Like. I was nominated for a Grammy. And so that made me feel very good, because I'd been going through a period of really not feeling like I was contributing very much or doing the right thing.
When Brenda's popularity revived in the 80s, I think that she believed that she hadn't changed, that the audience just sort of, and the market for music just came around to her again, and that the fads may change and the winds of popularity may shift one way or another, but there's always going to be a spot for a great song interpreter, and that's what she is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brenda Lee.
In 1984, Brenda was honored by the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, receiving their Nashville Chapter Governor's Award for her career in music.
Of all the audiences that I've ever faced, I think the one gathered here on September the 6th, 1984, is the one that will always be etched in my mind.
It was an overwhelming night for an appreciative Brenda Lee, but some people feel she deserves even more.
Personally, I feel that she should have earned a Grammy, at least one or more, that she should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that she should be in the Country Music Hall of Fame, that she should be given much more respect and adulation than she has been given by the music industry. She doesn't act like a star. I've often thought that that's why Brenda maybe isn't revered as highly as she ought to be. She is as regular a person as I've ever met in this business. I also think that had Brenda Lee gone down in that 1963 plane crash instead of Patsy Cline, had Brenda Lee gone down in flames and drugs and alcohol like Judy Garland, had she died young, she'd be a goddess of music.
Brenda was once quoted as saying that female vocalists have it rougher because the females are the record buyers. Dolly Parton, Barbara Mandrell, and Cyndi Lauper must have had some of her records because they cite Brenda as an influence. Katie Lang couldn't see recording the Honky Tonk Angels without Brenda on the Owen Bradley-produced Shadowlands album.
I was able to go visit with Minnie Pearl several times before she passed away, and one of the last times that I was with her, we talked about Brenda, and she said, which I think is a great compliment coming from Minnie, that she thought Brenda was one of the most complete little entertainers that she'd ever seen.
She's not out beating the bushes and trying to win a Grammy or win an award or try to convince people of how great she is. I think that everyone knows that she's a great person and a wonderful entertainer, but I think it's important that people know that she is really a great, deserving person. Some people have success that don't really, you know, that just sort of accidentally happens to them. But this girl worked hard on her career and her craft and deserves every bit of the success that she's had.
The one thing that's held dearest in the Brenda Lee household is family. Every holiday in her home is special, but Christmas time is extra special. And not just because Brenda has a December birthday.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.
Well, Christmas to me is my very favorite holiday. And it means family and friends getting together and eating and talking and playing music and singing. We all wind up in the living room on the piano playing music, and we all eventually wind up singing Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Oh, you will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly, rocking.
It's so much fun because she's such a child herself.
She really is. She gets really excited about the presents and the whole thing.
The
I mean,
family.
she's really,
Very
really, Christmas is
festive.
a really big deal around here.
And she can't keep a secret.
No.
We always know.
She will tell you what she bought you every time.
It's certainly no secret that Brenda Lee popularized the definitive rock and roll Christmas song.
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree was sent to me around 1958. And I knew from the first time I heard it, I knew the song was good. I never, in my wildest dreams, ever thought that it would wind up to be the #4 seller in the top 10 Christmas songs of all time. It's almost become my signature song, really.
In the new old-fashioned
Just as a child marvels at gifts under the tree, Brenda marvels at the gift she was given and how she's been able to share that gift with the world.
I never thought that I would ever sell 1 million records, much less 100 million records. I never dreamed that I would ever do that. So anything else after that first gold record to me was like gravy on the mashed potatoes.
There's so many psychological highs and lows in the entertainment business, the recording industry. I would have quit no less than 100 times if it had been up to me. And Brenda has never mentioned the word. It's just a part of her being, and it's a labor of love, and I think it's never been a business to Brenda. She's a fan. She's a lover of other artists. She'll ask for autographs. That is one thing I probably worry about a little bit in the back of my mind is nothing's forever, and there will come a day to where, for one reason or another, she can't or won't be performing before a live audience, and that's what she enjoys doing most.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
That day doesn't seem to be looming on the near horizon. Brenda continues to tour 20 weeks a year, and she just re-recorded a compilation of her big hits. 5 decades of music, and still counting.
What keeps me going and what keeps me wanting to do this is just the sheer love of what I do. I absolutely love to sing, and I love people. I love to be around people. I love to perform. It's not that I have to do it. My husband does very well and has a great business of his own, and we've done well through the years. It's just, I think it's just something that's inside of me that I just can't let go of. I love to do it. As far as my success is concerned, I think the biggest lesson I've learned, the success is not lasting. And really what you wind up with is your character. So along the way, you better kind of work on that. You better try to be a good person. And you better kind of like yourself. And because that's what you're going to be left with.
Love was blind, and I was
if I could just be remembered as trying the best that I knew how and loving my public, that would be enough for me.